Hey YouTube, today I'd like to talk about handheld gaming and my history with handheld devices from the 80s through to now. Now I'm going to preface this video by saying that I don't think handheld consoles are really for me per se. I understand the need for them and where they would probably be best suited, i.e. If you're commuting to and from work, so on a train every single day, the underground, if you're around London or you're going travelling, then I think these things are great. But for me, generally, I don't like the idea of sort of being hunched over, and I've got quite largish hands, and sort of grabbing this little device and peering into this tiny screen when obviously I've got consoles and a nice large wide format TV here. And I'd be interested to hear what you guys think about that. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I'm just saying that that's my take on it, and it's just not for me. However, as I'll mention at the end of this video, I do have one device that I've decided to sort of own and collect for, but I'll get to that a bit later. Now obviously in the early 80s we had the rise of the Game Boy, the Lynx, and obviously the Sega Game Gear. Now before all that, I had the kind of cheap equivalent that probably many people had, and that was the little LCD games that you would get with like one or two buttons, and they all had a different theme. They had like 4 different states of animation, very rudimentary, very clunky, but that was kind of my first foray into handheld gaming. And I had two of my favourites. One was a racing game where you were driving into the background, a bit like Outrun, and every car that you overtook, your points went up, and I got quite addicted to that one. But my favourite one was where you played as a goalkeeper, and a striker would take a shot and you had to save all the numerous shots. I used to love that game, and they were great for taking away on car journeys up to see my auntie, for example. I remember taking that one, and yeah, good memories of those, but again, very rudimentary. Now I know these probably aren't deemed handheld games per se, but tabletop, handheld, and these are some of the ones that I have now and owned in the past or played around friends' houses and just absolutely fell in love with. Now I'm going to start with this one, and this is Pac-Man by Grandstand. A very simplified version of this, and LED graphics, very simplified, but I find it quite addictive actually. Music gets a little bit annoying every now and again the more you play it, but yeah, and I love the product design of that. It's just a nice sort of shape and looks really cool. So I've got that one. Next, you'll probably know this one, Astro Wars. Used to love this. Again, the music, if you were playing for quite a while, would start to grind the gears, but I believe you can switch it off. Maybe not actually. But me and my friend used to play this religiously, and yeah, when we used to start our during our early drinking days, and I would go over to his before we go out and plug this in and have a couple of blasts on this, and yeah, great little device and lovely little product design again, I believe. Now, before the Game Boy, obviously Nintendo produced the little Game & Watch systems. I never had any, but I did play on a fair few back in the day, and I know obviously they've shot up in price now, and you can collect those in box, etc. I've only got one now that the ex-girlfriend got me. Don't tell my wife. And that's Mario Game & Watch. Now, again, the design of these things, the really high quality, lovely product design, and there, this one plays really well. I need to get more batteries into this one. And you're competing with Mario and Luigi, I believe, and you're carrying oil around. Oh, I can't remember, I'm going to have to boot this up again. But yeah, there's that one. Lovely little system. Now these, most people should remember these if you're my age or slightly older. When I first saw these, I thought this was sorcery, this kind of stuff, and I never actually owned one back in the day, but I really wanted them. And that was the Tomitronic 3D glasses, and what you would do is obviously load it up with batteries. If you go out in the sunlight, the sun would hit the top here, this kind of projector, and illuminate the two screens that were found in there. I believe this one is the race car game, and the graphics are sort of Tron-esque, where you had outlined blue and red vehicles, etc., and you would go down a track sort of into the background. Love these, love them. I picked this one up, and this one, I believe this is the space shooter game, back in the early noughties for £4 each at a car boot. So I was quite glad I got those. And then obviously after this, the Game Boy came out, but at that time when the Game Boy came out, I had the Sega Master System, and going from colour back to like a green screen, I just couldn't do it. Maybe a bit snobbish, I don't know. This isn't the Game Boy, this is my little radio alarm clock, but everyone knows what the Game Boy looks like. And again, I played it on coach trips with school, when friends would bring them in. I played Mario, Wario, obviously Tetris, and I remember playing Turtles. Quite hard, that game, if memory serves. Yeah, but I just didn't feel the need to really bug my mum and dad to actually get me this. I just thought, meh, I'm much more happy with my Sega Master System. And then saying that, when the Sega Game Gear came out, I was pushed to possibly ask about getting that one, but again, it was probably out of my mum and dad's price range back then. But the idea of having a Sega Master System in the pocket to take around with you was just mind-boggling, cutting edge at the time, and obviously it was colour graphics compared to the green-grey screen from Nintendo's console. And then after that, I did get very interested, and I did purchase the Game Boy Advance. Now, to me, the idea of having a Super Nintendo, although it wasn't probably quite as powerful as the Super Nintendo, but wasn't far off, and having the ability to play that on the go was just insane. And I remember when I purchased Final Fight 1 for it, and just thinking, my God, 8 years ago I was playing this in the arcade, and now I've got this in the pocket. It was just absolutely fantastic. And I had the clear original Game Boy Advance. The screen wasn't all that good. I know you can get them modded nowadays. And then after that, I upgraded to the Game Boy SP with a clamshell and a better screen. Really liked that console, actually. And so that one. After that, I got the DS, the old original grey, clunky and chunky DS that was, I think, probably 2001, maybe 2002. The product design was dreadful. It looked like a prototype that they sort of hastily rushed out just to get it out of the door. But I was intrigued with the technology of it, the touch sensitivity and the dual screen. And I remember ordering mine brand new and getting it and just being blown away with it. And a few more games for that one. And then I went travelling to Australia, Fiji, and Malaysia back in 2005 and took my DS with me, and it was an absolute godsend. And that's what I was saying earlier. I think these things are great as a little, gaming fix on the go. And it was just surreal being in Penang, just sat down on a bench and just playing this thing and just looking out and seeing all these palm trees. It's just something surreal about taking these old games that you would play in these new settings. But that was good. And whilst I was over there, the new DS Lite come out, and that's where Nintendo really got it right with the product design. It just looked really swanky. Obviously taking nods and cues from Apple and their iPhone range and things like that. Just looking very sleek. Loved that. And also whilst I was out there, I had Mario Kart came out, and Mario Kart on the DS was really, really good. Loved that game so much. And that was that one. And obviously you've got the PSP and the Vita, and they look, they're very competent consoles. I'm sure I've only played bits of the Vita. I played a little bit of Uncharted over a friend's, and they're very good. But again, I just didn't really feel the need to get that one. I sold my DS a while back, and I've actually plumbed to own and collect for the Nintendo 3DS. and I'll show my collection probably in an upcoming video. Go for games proper then. But this is the new model with the slightly beefed up CPU and GPU, and the face recognition, which is an absolute godsend on this. It just works so well. And what I like about this one over the Vita and things like that, and to use a pun, it just gives it games a whole new different dimension. You know, yeah, we can play on screen and enjoy a lot of the Marios and things like this, but playing Mario and Mario Kart in 3D on that screen just looks so good. And I know a lot of people didn't really get on with the 3D, but I absolutely love it. And also for the 3DS, I've recently purchased Streets of Rage 2, which has been completely rebuilt for the 3D capabilities of the 3DS, along with many other classic Mega Drive Sega titles. And I would argue it's the best version of it. It looks so good in 3D, and what they've done for the gameplay, it just controls like a dream. Excellent game. Thoroughly recommend picking that up if you can. And that's basically it, guys, for my handheld story. In the next video, I'm probably going to talk about my first collection video of my favourite console of all time, which I alluded to in a previous video. But yeah, hopefully you'll make it for that one. And yeah, do let me know down below if what your thoughts are on handheld gaming. You know, I'm sure, you know, I'm not saying that, again, this is right or wrong, but for me, it's never really got to me, handheld gaming. I just much prefer playing on a very large screen, lounge back in a nice comfy chair, and yeah, controller in hand, beer by the side, say, sweet. But anyway, guys, that's the end of this video. Thanks for joining me. Take care, and maybe I'll see you again sometime.